everyone, this is Niharika, and in this episode, we have with us Aarish Khan from ILS Law College, Pune. Aarish is in his second year of law school and has emerged as the runner-up mediator in the NLS Negotiation, Mediation and Client Counseling Competition 2023. And hence, we've invited him here to talk about his journey. So without wasting any more time, let us begin with today's session. Aarish, could you briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure. So, hi Niharika, hi everyone. I am Aarish Khan. I am currently in my second year of law school at ILS Law College, Pune. I'm pursuing my 5-year law course, that is BA at LB. My internships have mostly been focused so far on litigation and dispute resolution. And apart from law, my main interests lie in the field of psychology and philosophy and comparative religion. Yes.
All right, Aarish, thank you for your introduction. So we'll delve into the questions now. So how would you describe your competition journey? So being a mediator, is there any preparation that you can do beforehand? And how did you prepare for the competition?
Yeah, so like ADR competitions and especially mediation competitions, I've realized is for a mediator, uh, from the point of view of a mediator, are mostly impromptu, and you do not need per se a specific skill set that you need to have, apart from the fact that you need to have excellent or a decent communication skill. But apart from that, there's no particular process that you need to go through or particular practice that you need to do for mediation competitions, because they mostly depend on how you conduct yourself throughout the course of the mediation proceeding. So yeah, I mean, to answer that question, more or less, you do not have to have any prior practice in order to be good at mediation. You just need to be good at communication, and communication again involves being able to convey your point better and being able to listen to others well. So yeah.
Right. So being a mediator, you have to be mindful of certain considerations like not taking up time for the negotiating parties and helping facilitate conversations between them. But it also becomes necessary at times to interrupt them and bring them back to the negotiations when they are getting deviated. And that is obviously the job of the mediator. So how did you manage to interrupt them while making sure that the flow of the negotiations was maintained? And how did you direct them in the right direction without disturbing the progress that was made between the parties?
Right. So, a mediator, I mean, I'll start answering that by saying that a mediator needs to be in control of the process of their mediation proceeding, in the sense that you need to explain to the parties at the very onset that you, in your own way, that you're responsible for the process and the process will be controlled by you. The content of the mediation will be controlled again now by the parties. In that, when you have explained to them that okay, I will be in charge of this particular mediation process and this particular mediation proceeding, you have to make sure that the parties are able to communicate well by making a particular environment wherein they are able to talk about the things amicably. There are different types of disputes, there are different types of problems that you may encounter in your mediation proceedings per se, wherein maybe the other party is not listening to the next party, or where maybe both parties have started fighting over some point that you may find needs to be addressed. What you may do in such circumstances is that you may briefly explain to them what the mediation proceeding has, how it has went so far, and then you tell them, okay, now I feel that we may be running around in circles here. I feel there is slight delay in progress here. So maybe let's just ponder over and go back to this point and start from here. Maybe let's do that. And you have to convey that very effectively. You have to keep summarizing at different particular points. And then whenever you see that you need to interrupt the parties, you need to do that politely, in the sense that you need not, when a party is speaking, don't interrupt them. You need to find that space where one party stops and the other party is just about to begin, and in that particular small space you have to start with your own trying to reconcile the whole process. So that's how you basically go about it.
Right. So how do you think your performance was judged during the competition? And after the feedback which you got from the judges, what can you say about the skills a mediator must possess?
The skills a mediator must possess and the feedback. So, right. the thing is that mediation competitions, my mentor, Advocate Aarish Khan, had told me while I was preparing for this NLS NMC that mediation competitions mostly depend on your, like they have a very much higher weightage on your luck as well. What type of judges you get, right? Why is that so? So every judge, despite the fact that they're given a judge's brief and they're asked to, score you on the basis of these particular points in that judge's brief, but however, every person has their own approach to mediation. You have to keep in mind that the people who are judging you have been practicing mediation since the inception of their career. Like, for example, in NLS, the judges that we had for our rounds were partners at tier one law firms. They had been practicing mediation for about, I don't know, 15, 20 years. So everyone has a different approach. You have to find a middle path wherein you can adjust to everyone's approach. You don't have to be very aggressive. You have to be mild. You have to be controlling of your body language. Body language is very important when it comes to a mediation proceeding. And as far as my feedback was concerned by the judges, all of the judges till the finals mostly praised a lot my opening statement. So your opening statement gives and has a very great impact on how you will be judged throughout the rest of the proceedings. That's what my judges told me, because the opening statements that you present are, as they say, the first impression is the last impression. That somewhat to a certain extent follows as well in mediation competitions. Your opening statement should be very effective both for the parties as well as for the judges. So your opening statement should be good. It should be able to impress the judges. Work a lot on your opening statement. Apart from that, then how you conduct yourself in the mediation proceeding, as I had stated at the onset, is what matters the most thing after the opening statement. You have to be very amicable. You have to keep summarizing. You have to listen to the parties effectively. Use the board where needed. And I suggest use the board wherever possible, whenever possible. There are some, when you go for a national mediation competition, the problems mostly are very complex. Sometimes they involve a lot of numbers. The parties can get somewhat left behind maybe when a lot of numbers are involved. So use the board for that. Mainly what you have to do is facilitate the easier communication between the parties. That's what your job as a mediator is. Understand what what you have to do as a mediator, and that's how basically how you are judged. That's what your feedback will be on. Now, as for what would what skill sets I would suggest a mediator would need to have is, again, have good communication skills, be confident of yourself, and yeah, one more thing, be mentally prepared. So a mediator needs to handle a lot. The parties dispute a lot, they argue a lot. So you have to remember that you have to keep your cool, because if you lose your cool, then you'll ensure basically that the parties also lose their cool and the proceeding will be a disaster. So ensure that you have your own cool. Ensure that you're calm, composed, you're listening and attentive to both the parties. Maintain very well your body language, and I think that should get you through the competition and help you win it. And also have a winning mindset. Yeah, that's that.
All right, Arish, thank you for being with us here today. It was an
My
amazing
pleasure.
discussion, and I'm very sure your insights will be very helpful for the students aspiring and aiming for the mediation competitions.
I hope
I,
so.
on behalf of YLCC, wish you all the very best for your amazing journey ahead. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Niharika.